Jesus Disciples Seminary.
Revelation. Section 5. Revelation chapter 4.
Teacher Bob Reed.
Outline. Again, your outline is here, but I'd rather you just follow me along in the Word. And if we come to certain things that need to be added, we'll get into it. And here, as I mentioned just as we took the break, this is where we begin to walk into the part of Revelation that people usually don't understand. But I want you to see again that chapters 1 through 3 is 7 churches. It represents 7 types of people. And in here you see only the godly that are the true Jews, and you see the false who say they are the apostles or prophetess or Jews. You're only looking at 2 kinds because it's written for the church. And it takes the church right here from their beginning, what they've done in their past, walks them right on through present tense, takes them right on through the future here, to the second coming and or usually the final judgment. If they don't change, they'll be judged in the end. So that's there. Now the next group is chapter 4 through 7. The general view, of course, is still Christ's church in the world versus the world. The divisional view is Christ's church in trials and persecutions 4 through 7. And that should be tribulation, I believe, and persecution. And then the specific view is the throne of God, which is backing this earthly church. Chapter 4, verse 1. After this, John says, I looked, and behold, a door was opened in heaven, and the first voice which I heard was, as it were, of a trumpet talking with me, which said, Come up hither, and I will show thee things which must be hereafter. That is, he's shown us the condition of the church in present tense, makes some future statements about each one of them, but now he's going to take us beyond the cross to that which goes beyond the work of the cross. Now, it is this place that the pre-tribbers say that this stops. This is all future tense, will not happen until down towards the end of the last 7 years or so forth. This is where they say John's taken up into heaven. This is the rapture, and we're gone. And this is when the Jews now have to fight Antichrist. Chapter 4 through 19 is all for the poor Jews that are left behind in those 7 years, Daniel's 70th week. Well, first of all, they got Daniel's 70th week in the wrong place. Number 2, this is for the church as well as everything else. But underline the word hereafter because it's a revelation of things to come. But in doing this, he still goes back to the cross and picks it up. Immediately I was in the Spirit, and behold, a throne was set in heaven, and one that sat upon the throne. And the one that's on the throne is just God. You might mark that in there so that you'll keep everything. And he that sat was to look upon like a jasper and a sardine stone, and there was a rainbow round about the throne, in sight like unto an emerald. And round about the throne were 24 seats, and upon the seats I saw 24 elders. And right here, this gives you the total composite of Old Testament and New Testament, the 12 tribes plus the 12 apostles. It is a representation of Old Testament and New Testament together there, symbolism. Both of these, however, the 12 apostles and 12 tribes, will be found in the foundation of the New Jerusalem, which again shows you that it's a composite picture of all the godly from all time, from the very beginning on. And they were sitting clothed in white raiment, the righteousness of God, and they had on their heads crowns of gold, the perfection that God and purity wanted for them. And out of the throne proceeded lightning and thunderings. This is always associated with God. We saw that in the Old Testament where they appear. And the voices, and there were 7 lamps of fire burning before the throne, which are the 7 spirits of God. So now not only the 7 spirits of God, the all-seeing, the all-knowledge of God, but here they're represented as 7 lamps, which is the light and truth of the Spirit. Before the throne there was a sea of glass like unto crystal, and in the midst of the throne and round about the throne were 4 beasts. These are living creatures. You can go back in Ezekiel and find these, and we may do some work on this in a moment. Full of eyes before and behind. You see in your outline, in your notes here, when we get into chapter 4, verse 3, John tries to describe God like precious jewels, and these are all out of Ezekiel, where it's described back there also of God, and you can go back and check that sometime. In verse 4 in your outline, the 24 elders, right at the end of that, right in their Revelation, right, it says the 24 elders representing the totality of all the saints in the kingdom and yet to come. Right, Revelation 21, 12 through 14, because this is where they're all mentioned again in the foundation of the city of Jerusalem, which is us. Revelation 21, 12 through 14. That's something we'll pick up yet today, but that's where you'd go over and pick it up. Okay. Then the four beasts, verses 6 through 9, as we have a description here, we have Ezekiel 1, 4 through 25, which gives you a detailed view back there of the fact that they are living creatures, which then are called in other places, and I'll give you the reference for it. You need to write it right in here, verse 6 through 9. Right in there, Ezekiel 10, verse 14 and 20. Ezekiel 10, 14, and 20. The living creatures are then called cherubim. It's proven if you'll read the Ezekiel 4 through 25, and then look at Ezekiel 10, 14, and 20. You'll see the living creatures. There are four beasts. You can check it out and find that they're called living creatures, and the living creatures are, in fact, four cherubim. So that should eliminate any speculation or problems there. Verse 7, and the first beast was like unto a lion, and that's for strength. The lion is the king of the jungle, known as strength. The second beast like unto an ox or a calf. In the Old Testament it will be ox when you see these four appear in Ezekiel. It's an ox back there, but the same thing is meant in the Greek. It's an ox, which is service. The oxen does the plowing and the work. The third beast has a face as a man, which implies intelligence. So they have strength, they're for service, they have intelligence, and the fourth one is like a flying eagle. This is swiftness, the ability to move wherever God has them to move. And the four beasts, which are living creatures, each had in them 6 wings about him, and they were full of eyes, all knowledge within, and they rest not day and night, saying, Holy, 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 no accident, one God and 3 persons, holy, 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 each one represented as holy, Lord God Almighty, all-powerful, which was and is to come, manifested, past, present, and future. And when those beasts give glory and honor and thanks to him that sat on the throne, who liveth forever and ever, the 24 elders, the composite of the Old and New Testament, fall down before him that sat upon the throne, and worship him that liveth forever and ever, and cast their crowns before the throne, saying, Thou art worthy, O Lord, to receive glory and honor and power, for thou hast created all things, and for thy pleasure they are and were created. That's a song of praise there of the creation. And notice that they're all creation people.
Search Jesus Disciples Seminary at Amazon.com for a companion textbook to these videos.